Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here today. I'm looking forward to speaking with our guest, Kristeen. I'm going to read her bio and then bring her in here so we can have a lovely conversation. Kristeen Barth is a career and leadership coach and mentor dedicated to helping individuals and teams foster a healthier relationship with their work. By identifying and overcoming limiting beliefs and inner saboteurs, she helps clients build a mindset for sustained success and happiness. With compassion, creativity, and honesty, Kristeen guides clients to explore their core identity and clarify their priorities. She challenges current thinking to identify what is working and what needs to evolve. Committed to personal growth, she assists clients in becoming the most meaningful versions of themselves. Her experience spans IT project and product management, post acquisition cultural integration, leadership development, employee experience and engagement programs, coaching at all organizational levels, team culture work, and DEI initiatives. Wowza. Kristeen trained through the Coaches Training Institute and the Agile Coaching modality and holds a BS in technology management and an MBA from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Outside of work, she enjoys outdoors, documentaries, kettlebells, walking her dog, Toby, traveling, and oat milk lattes. All right, Kristeen, I love so many of the same things as you. What kind of documentaries are you into?
Oh, um, lots of them. What's been interesting recently is a series of documentaries on cults. So
Oh
that's been
my
fascinating.
gosh. I find them
Yeah,
so fascinating. And then there's a lot of documentaries that aren't about cults. And then you're like, but I feel like that was a cult that you were in. And they just didn't even say that it was a cult. Thank you
yeah,
so much for being here. I love reading bios, but I also just love hearing people's words from their own mouths. So, is there your story that you'd like to share of how you got into coaching? I'd love to hear it.
yeah, yeah. So many years ago when I was in IT, I had a great opportunity to attend a facilitator training. So how to just, what I thought I was learning, just how to, run meetings better. And out of that, I met this woman who was just incredible and had such an amazing presence about her, which led me to a couple different steps, one of them being the Coaches Training Institute. And I just fell in love with the work and being able to help people in a very different way than I was used to. So, um, not long after that, I started to realize that I wanted to spend more time on people and less time on systems, like technical systems. And I was getting a little bit of that feedback from my leaders too, like, yeah, you're spending a lot of time on the people. We'd love for you to be more technical. And so, yeah, yeah. And so from that, it was a long journey actually of, really investing in my coaching and leadership skills while trying to find my way into a role that was going to allow me to do that more as a higher percentage of my day. And I did find that opportunity internally. So I
Oh,
love to
nice.
help people. Yeah, I love to help people with that path, right? To find their way to transition to different functions within an organization and take a real, big career pivot. So that's how I got into, coaching, and I've loved it ever since. And I spent the last 6 years in a human resources function doing leadership development, employee experience and culture work, leading up the Americas, and really enjoyed that. And then very recently made the leap to full-time entrepreneur. So
Oh, how has that experience been?
yeah, I mean, it's been very empowering in many ways, right? To really bet on myself has been a wild ride of emotion and freedom. And then with freedom comes, like, I'm not tethered to anything, so that
Yeah.
feels a little disorienting. And it's a lot of learning and a lot of a lot of learning and a lot of joy. I think there's just a lot of joy and creativity in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So is the entrepreneurship just doing your whole coaching practice full time? Is that what you're building right now?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've
Yeah.
been doing it, along the way. So it's been, a work in process while I've been working in corporate as well. But yeah, so I do one-on-one coaching, I do some group coaching, and then I love working with teams on culture and change management, communication, those sorts of things, really bringing teams together and helping understand how they can tap into their inner team strengths, right? So we start with the individual. What do you know about yourself that you really want to bring to your team? And then collectively, what are our strengths as a team so that we can take advantage of the opportunities that the organization has, right, in the marketplace, really, facing those changes, taking them head on. Yeah, so I love the teamwork too, because it's really cool to see people come together and really play off of each other's strengths.
Yeah. I was just talking to another coach this week, and I realized about myself that I really love talking to coaches who are, jumping off the ledge and being like, I'm going to do this full time into entrepreneurship. But it is like such a scary jump to take. And I'd love to hear how you've navigated that, because you said, like it's all the things, but there is so much joy and beauty on the other end. What advice would you give to somebody who's like, I don't know if I can do this, or I'm in the thick of it, or I even want to think about it? Like, what advice would you give to somebody?
Yeah, I think a couple things. One, the support system that you have around you, and you don't have to wait until you jump to then build that community. Really having it along the way. So I think one of my strengths in life is really cultivating community and staying connected in diverse groups. So really finding, different groups that are going to offer different perspectives. I don't want only coaches that are trained at the Coaches Training Institute. I don't want only entrepreneurs that are coaches, right? There's just different angles that are really helpful. So build that community. If you think you're going to do this, start building it now. So getting that
Yeah.
together. And then what else would I say? Building relationships in your business, like really getting those going before, because it it's not always that you just meet someone and bam, they're going to sign up with you and you're off to the races with a big contract. So really building those relationships and fostering that. So when someone has a need, you pop into their mind, right? They already know you, trust you, and you can be doing that regardless of whether you've actually started the financial part of your business, right? You're even, exchanging money for what you do, just building that network out. So I think that, and um, and I did it concurrently. I mean, I really took advantage. There was so much for me to learn in my corporate role, and I really wanted to take as much as I could from that. Of course, I'm giving back with that, right? It's not just a one-way street, but really taking advantage of all the opportunities, because in the corporate world, you have so many resources and people providing feedback and guidance and what's working and what's wanted. And so really taking advantage of that along the way. Yeah. And never, I don't know, not wasting that opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I tell people too, it's like, just because you're making this shift doesn't mean that all your life experience prior has gone out the window. Like, to your point, how can you pull all of the wisdom that you have from all the different roles to help you be successful? Kind of coaching yourself in the process of like, wait a minute, I was a VP at this company. Now I can do this, How do you define success for yourself, and how has that evolved through your coaching journey?
Yeah. Interesting. I think, to be honest, in the early days of my coaching, I didn't do it well. The business side of it, I didn't do it well. And not, I was coaching on the weekends, I was coaching, in all my free time, and it ran me really thin and unfulfilled in terms of being able to do anything else in my life besides work. And so, I the second time around really restructured that and said, okay, what do I think is going to work for me? And establish that in just a way that was more nourishing, where I didn't work on weekends with clients and that sort of thing. And I think that was really important. Vanessa, can you just repeat your question? Because I think I lost a little track of it.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I was just asking, like, how do you define
Oh,
success,
success.
and how has that, like, definition evolved throughout your journey?
Yeah. So I think for me, success has always been having a really full life. And for me, that means having interests inside and outside of work. And so that's where I was bringing in this idea of like, how did I structure when I coached and when I worked on my business? And so the second time around, really giving myself still the space to, have time to do all those things that you listed that I love, hiking, I love backpacking, I love travel, I love just being outside. And so for me, structuring a business such that I can do all of those things is success to me. And it's really, I've had to work very hard, I think, to separate external factors of what, society thinks success is, right? And many times I would see the annual promotion list come out and I'm like, oh, like, should I be disappointed that I'm not on that list? And really thinking, yeah, but I don't want a promotion.
Yeah.
Not what I want. Yeah, it looks nice and people will then maybe, send me a message that they're, happy for me. And it was like, that's not what I want. And so I think, it really has been a journey for me to figure out internally what success is. And a lot of it for me is free time. It is
Yeah.
autonomy to spend my time doing it, doing things that I love and enjoy and that fill me up, and not chasing down, a title, or those external factors.
Yeah, I love that so much, because I think, so much of life, it's just like you're told to do this, do this, do this. And it's really important to take that time to stop and go like, why am I doing this? And who am I doing this for? Like, what's important to me? And that's where I think like coaching is so important. I love it so much. But I think having somebody in your corner that you can bounce all of these ideas that everybody has, like, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right path? What am I doing with my life? But having somebody in your corner is so important. Can you tell me a little bit about your practice and what strategies you use with your clients in helping them unlock like their unique brilliance and what they are passionate about, and showing up for them?
Yeah, yeah. I'm a big proponent of positive intelligence. So that's a big cornerstone of the work that I do. And so for those that don't know what positive intelligence is, it's really a way of separating out some of the, internal dialogue around saboteur voices that are, kind of pushing us to do things out of fear, out of stress, a desire to, look good, and really tapping into that sage side of us, which is, your inner knowing about what's right for you, your North Star, if you will. So positive intelligence is a big part of what I do. And I think really at the heart of everything I'm doing with clients, whether it's individual, group, or teamwork, is trying to figure out what's your unique voice. Like, what are the measures of success for you that leave you feeling fulfilled? Not in a moment of, this success or that accolade, but really that long-standing success and feeling of, enduring happiness. And it's hard. It's hard because we often believe our own sort of, crap, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're tricky about that, right? Like, just and we take on beliefs from our families, we take on beliefs from, jobs that we've held, the communities that we spend time in, and it can be really confusing to figure it out. But oftentimes people, especially women, start to feel this like something inside them that's like off, or I just don't feel that great about what I'm doing. I'm doing it and it seems good and I'm working really hard and I'm achieving things, and I just don't, I'm losing a spark or something. And so really getting to the heart of that. And it is a lot about creating a space for individuals, men or women, really to think about what is it? Like, what's beneath the surface that, those needs or those desires that aren't being met? And then how do we navigate that? Because it doesn't mean that you have to shift, throw in, all the things that you've done and just like, jump off, some big platform to do something totally new. Sometimes it's small changes that can make a really big difference in your existing role at work to bring joy and happiness in that, like, oh, I'm back, right? And this part of me can really come alive.
Yeah. Is there a story that comes to mind that you could share about like a success with a client or in that aha, like, moment that you've experienced that just like ignites you and continues your love of the work that you're doing?
Yes. There's a few that come to mind. One of them that comes to mind is I have a client who, in it according to the external world, everything seemed like it was going pretty well. Got a job offer that seemed amazing, right? Why wouldn't I take this? And there was something that made the choice difficult for this client and just made the choice tough. And so as we started talking, it was like, well, why is this so hard for me? I feel like it should just be like a hell yes. And really when they decided it's because it's not right. And I don't have another option, but I'm willing to turn this down because it's not right. To me was just so powerful to have, the experience of watching someone really listen to themselves and not the external world. And yes, we have to pay the bills and, all of that sort of stuff. And we want healthcare and right. But to really listen into themselves and say, oh, the reason why this isn't an easy yes for me is because it's not truly aligned with what I want. And I'm going to trust that the right thing's going to come along.
Mm.
Which was just, and very different. So for some people that might be, the way you're used to living. For some of us, it's not, right? And so when we go against those old patterns, it's like, whoa. And ultimately it's been an incredibly empowering. And also I have this strong belief that when we can act in alignment with what we want, the universe is there to support us, right? Like things start to show up, right? And you're like, what? I didn't even know this could happen. I didn't know life could be this good. But it takes a lot of faith to really, make a choice.
I love that so much. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's scary, right? And it can be. But I think having that faith and belief in yourself leads to the confidence. But I was going to say the universe as well will open up doors when you get rid of things that aren't right. Right. Then you're leaving space for something better to come your way and in alignment, especially if you get really clear. I think it's really cool how the universe can answer those desires. If you're like, I really just want X, Y, and Z to figure it out.
Yeah,
I
they
love
say
that
that
story.
the universe doesn't know how to respond to like confusion.
Right.
Right. So a lot of times, we're thinking, I want that. And I've experienced this very much so. I want this, but I'm doing this. Right. And the universe is like, I don't know what to do with you. Like, do I give you this or that? Or, what opportunities do I present to you? And so when we can really lean into this is what I want, and I'm going to act in alignment with it. And like I said, it doesn't mean throwing everything else out, right? There's ways to do that and also make sure the bills are getting paid. Right.
Yeah.
Also make sure that we're taking care of, the three-dimensional world that we live in and all of that sort of stuff. Yeah. So, but it's really helpful. I know you know this, Vanessa, but it's so helpful to have someone to help you talk through that, right? When you get really caught up in the like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid I just have to go back to the safe answer. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like that is so important because I believe that every person has that bigger dream or want for themselves. But most of the time it's like, how do I even get to Z? I'm at A. I don't even know where to start. Like I'll never get there. It'll never happen. But having a safe space to have those conversations and realize to your point, like it may not look like quitting all of your life and running away and starting new. It could just be like, take a first step and see where that takes you. Maybe what would it look like if you did this small little thing? But it's fun. And I know we both know, Rick, like having somebody who can hold a bigger dream for you is really impactful in your life. And it's fun, right? Like to have somebody be like, oh man, I could do that. I could do that. Like, but if you have people in your life who are like, ugh, why are you even thinking of quitting your job? Like you'll never get another job. It's not the time or the place. You'll believe that and then be like, okay, maybe I won't. There goes another 10 years. Because life
Yeah.
is fast and short at the same time.
Well, and I look at, I quit a good job in a really tough market. Like
Yeah.
I was doing work that was enjoyable, right? But there was just something more I wanted. Yeah. And so it is really easy as an individual to start to question, like, what am I doing? Am I throwing out, the safety, the certainty? And then it's very easy for people around us too, especially people that love us and want the best for us, to be like, what are you doing? So it's great to have people, like you said, in your corner to, see that for you and help you hold that vision for yourself, while also, balancing things that are needed, right? Because there's many values that we hold, right? I do hold a value that, that I can afford to do certain things in my life, right? Or that, whatever your family's taken care of, or, your parents are cared for, whatever these things are. And so how do you balance, those different values that you have, and not just, lean too heavily into one or the other? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that is so important. And just having those conversations, I think about this often because I have 2 young kids. And I'm like, at what point do you stop being that fun, like optimistic little kid to then being like, oof, I got to do all these things in life? And I think so many people, there is a point, I don't know what the breaking point is, but I have so many conversations as I'm getting older where people are like, oh, well, I could never do that. And I'm like, well, why not? Like, I did it. Like, I rediscovered a whole new career and I'm nobody special. Like, you can too. What do you think? What do you think is that point where people stop and then give up on finding
I don't,
something better?
I don't know. I think it has a lot to do with the people around you, right? And
Oh,
not that
look
it's
at that
their
all the
fault,
time.
but
Yeah.
like, the people that we interact with regularly. I mean, if you're around people, this was true for me. If you're around people who hike, you're going to start hiking. If you're around people who paint, you're probably going to paint, right? So I think people that are going for things that they want that maybe seem a little unconventional, if you're around people that resist that, like, that's probably not going to, be something that you're drawn to do. So I think there's a bit of that, but I also think, especially as a parent, you're like, I want the best for my child, and your fear may take over at times and be like, you just need a good job.
Yeah.
And it comes from your lived experience of, hey, I picked a job that wasn't fulfilling. So then you want your kids to just really lean into a fulfilling job. You picked a job that didn't, financially support you. So you want your kids to, be financially supported, whatever these things are, right? So I think, there's that. I don't know what the breaking point is. There's a wonderful man named Chip Conley who started this Modern Elders Academy. And he talks a lot about this point in midlife, there's not a set age for it, but there's a point at which we go from ego driven, desires, like we, climb the ladder, do these things, to soul driven, like an operating system that's really soul driven. And I've noticed that in myself. A lot of us probably experienced it around the pandemic. It was like, what are we doing? How am I spending my time? Right.
Yeah.
But I think there's an age. I mean, I definitely noticed where it was like, I don't care about some of those things anymore. And, that turning point for people, but there isn't really, he started this academy because there really isn't a school for this, right? In your young years, right, we have more institutional sort of support for different transitions in life. And I think coaching is a really great place for this too. It's like when you start to want to tap into who you want to be, you need support because you don't know how to do it. The people around you want status quo, right? So there's some resistance there. So he's been a really cool resource for me.
I love that. I really love that because I think, I'm a big neuroscience nerd. So, because of neuroplasticity, like you can learn until the day you die. Your brain can grow and evolve and change, and it's never too late to try something new. On that note, if who's ever listening, what is your ideal person that would be like, I'm your girl? Hey, I'm Kristeen. And here's why I'm your person, and this is how I can help you. Like, who's that ideal client?
Yeah. So I think a really great client for me is somebody who's probably done some work. They've already done some work and they're kind of hitting a wall, and they're probably experiencing burnout, right, of some sort. That doesn't mean overwork. It could mean underwork. So they're experiencing burnout and they're ready for a change in their career. Like, the work I do is not working for me anymore and I don't know where to go. So maybe they're in job search, maybe they're not, right? I think there's a lot to do within your current role, within your current organization. But that's, my ideal client really is like, I'm tapped, I don't know where to go, and I feel like I need to run. Like, I just need to run away from this because it's not working anymore. So that is from a one-on-one perspective. And then from a team perspective, teams going through change, teams that are, facing like maybe a big opportunity and really want to figure out how do we get the team together to be best positioned to take advantage of this opportunity. So we want to improve communications, we want to improve innovation, we want to really be able to gel more so that together we can achieve what this is. So I love to bring teams together to, build their inner resources, tap into them, and then be able to achieve those business goals together.
I love that. I think it's so needed in this climate. Like, to your point, it's a scary climate that we are living in right now, post-pandemic, with companies even trying to figure out, do we go hybrid? Do we take everybody back in? Do we fire everybody who moved away? Like, I've heard the craziest stories from my friends who work at big corporate companies where they're like, you're fired if you moved and you're not close to an office anymore. And it's like, wait, what? And so people are fearful of like, what does this look like? And it's so scary, especially if you have all the financial responsibilities. So who's ever listening, there are resources like Kristeen out there that can help you navigate those conversations to figure out what that next step looks like. And it's private and quiet. You don't have to be like, hey, world, I'm doing this thing, but you can find somebody who'll support you on that journey so that the next job is in alignment with what your values are.
Yeah.
Which I just think is so important. I think we rush and we do that fearful thing of like, let me just get another one. And I say for a lot of my clients, it's like, what's your story? How does the story, like, how do you tell your story of your career and where you're going? And what does that look like? Because we all have a beautiful, unique story to share. Thank you so much. How can people reach you, find you, connect with you in life?
Yeah, so I have a big presence on LinkedIn, so I love to connect with people on LinkedIn. Also, my website, KristeenBarth.com, so Kristeen, Barth.com. And then also there's resources out there for you. So there's a resource page. One of the things I'd like to offer is there is a tool for you, 13 signs that your job is running your life. And if you'd like to download that, you just enter your information and get a sense of like, is my job a little more, am I over-indexing on that? And then some tips for how to manage that more effectively.
Wow. Wonderful. And I will share those links too on this channel so that people can connect with you. Any parting words or anything you'd like to say before we leave today? It's been such a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure to share with you and have this conversation. What I would say is, I really want everyone to tap into their own sense of what's right for them and throw out the, status quo sort of rules. And I think that's sort of the beauty of life, is the differences in each of us and what we want. And so if you're looking for ways to better understand what it is that you actually want out of life, consider coaching. Yeah.
So beautifully said. I don't have anything to follow that with, but yes, I agree what she said. Thank you so much, Kristeen. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Take care.